Good afternoon, it's Jim from the maverickstar Observatory. We've got some nice things to talk about in this upload, and we've also got some very negative, some people would say. And I want to get the negative out of the way first, and then get on with the, the more pleasantry topic. So, if I said to you 6 months ago, we would all be locked up in our homes, and there'd be laws that would penalise us if we went outside. Penalise us. Yeah, it sounded like something else. Okay, but yeah, you'd probably say, Gene, you're crazy. But we are in a world today which is pretty much shut down. There are many of us not going to work. Many of us have been floored, or I can't pronounce that word, but you know what it means. You get 80% of your salary paid by the government, so we're almost in a communist state even, which is bizarre to even get your head round. But that is the situation that we are in. And if I'd have told you that 6 months ago, you'd have said, Gene, you're absolutely crazy. It's never going to happen. But we have give up our human rights, and we have been pretty much put in solitary confinements. We are allowed out just like a prisoner once a day, and just like a prisoner we are also allowed to go out and feed ourselves, get the necessary things that we need. We're also allowed, well, I don't need to go through the rules, you obviously know what's going on, but there's going to be something coming down the road, and you know me, I like to think ahead of the game. And I don't think many people have, with all what's going on, I don't think many people have had the foresight of what's coming next. This has originated, the coronavirus, from China, Wuhan, and there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people jumping on this bandwagon there. Coming up with a lot of theories. And it's good. It's good to put the ideas on the table and examine them. Some people think this is a result of 5G poisoning cells. We've had people from big mobile phone networks come out and say, look, they want to tell the people that this is something that they've caused as a result of 5G, and it's not. You can't create cell poisoning through 5G. What you can do is you can create cancer if it's at a high enough frequency, but it'd have to be along the lines of microwaves and above. So I don't think it's nothing to do with 5G. I do understand people's concerns with 5G. No one wants to live in a polluted environment where there is high frequencies and radio waves which could possibly be harmful. But if they was, I think we would be talking about not viruses, we'd be talking about cancer in the vulnerable people in that respect anyhow. But that's not really what I wanted to get off my chest. I wanted to get off my chest is what I think is coming down the road next. And I think some of you may have even given it a light thought, but let's dip into this. This has came from China, and China have got an ultimate responsibility, to the rest of the world now because of what's happened, to do one of a couple of things. And this is what I've been thinking about. What is China going to do? Are they going to hand out blank cheques to countries because of the cost which has been incurred through this outbreak? Or is at some point, if I said to you in 6 months' time we're at war with China, possibly Russia, because they will stick together in this scenario, you'd probably say I'm crazy. But I think it's a likelihood. At some point, the book is coming back to China with regards to all this. They have created a monster which originated in their country, and it has spread around the world, killing tens of thousands of people already. It will kill eventually millions, as I said, and I was criticised for that, but just wait. Here in the UK we are about, I don't know, 6 days away from just entering the bottom part of that peak, which is going to expand, and it will be squashed down a little bit, that peak, because of the government's recommendations by keeping people from mixing with others. It will reduce it. The algorithms that we're running here will need to be adjusted because of the strategy which the governments are taking. But it still shows at the end of the cycle, many millions, even here in the UK, dying as a result of that. But I think before we get to the end of this pandemic, I can see that possibly we are going to enter a third world war. China's got probably 2 or maybe 3 options. They can hand out, like I said, blank cheques to every country around the world that has been affected by this virus, or they can, play ignorant. Eventually, countries are going to be saying, "Look, we have had to spend trillions, as a result of your actions or lack of actions to contain this problem within your own country, and it has spread out of control." And it's not just this one. You have been proven now to constantly pollute the world with more than one virus, SARS, bird flu, COVID, etc. And I think, if China do not, start handing out these countries the blank cheques, then I think the countries will take it upon themselves to respond to this directly. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this isn't going to happen. And you know what? If I'd have said 6 months ago that we'd be right now all locked up in our homes as a result of, the consequences of COVID-19 spreading around the world, this pandemic that we've got, then you would have said I was crazy as well. And you're probably thinking that this isn't going to be the next case scenario, and it will. I think that there will be certain people in powers around the world that will take advantage of this situation. And, it's not the first time we've went to war with China. It's not the first time we've went to war with Iraq. We have been, if you look into the history of Iraq, you will see that we've been there time and time again. It seems like history just constantly repeats itself, and I think with China it's just going to be another case. So the third thing which China can do is, obviously they are sitting there thinking, Jesus Christ, we have really created a problem now which has spread across the world, and the world right now hates us, and at some point they're going to ask us to write some blank cheques, or they're going to attack us. And for that reason, I think the third option China have got is to do a large-scale attack on what is probably going to be the inevitable anyhow, and it will probably be in a nuclear form. You'll probably, at this point, just fall off your chair. But put yourself in their shoes. What options have they got? A preemptive attack on your opponents, which are inevitably going to be asking for blank cheques, which could bankrupt your country, or, at worst, go to war with your country as a result of, your inabilities to contain a problem which has now spread worldwide and shut the world down completely to this day as we know it. I'm just putting that out there, guys, because it's coming down the road. Not sure which option China are going to take, whether they're going to write the blank cheques out, or even if they are already writing the blank cheques out and taking responsibility for this mess. But, if they're not, there is 2 options: be attacked or attack. And, they're a nuclear armed race, and they have, an adequate army, and you just have to sit down there and weigh up your options. And, I know a lot of people don't have the time to afford to think about these things, but you have to think a little bit further down the road. I will move on off the topic of that. I'll just leave you with that to think about. Here in the UK, obviously we're allowed out once a day for exercise, so me and my partner have been going for walks, a couple of hours, around about, 11 kilometres every other day, because there's nothing else to do. But yesterday on our walk, we passed two different places. One was a church, and outside the church there was loads of baskets of food, fresh vegetables, fruit, and it was free to anyone who wanted it, and there was tons of it there. So we helped ourselves to a couple of cucumbers and bananas. That's all we took. But on the way home, we come across another one, and there was some peppers there, which we had, and what else? I think we had another couple of cucumbers, because we eat a lot of cucumbers there. But we noticed that these were coming from the same place, Asda, which is a big supermarket store, food place, shop here in the UK, if you don't know it. If you're in like America or Canada, you might not have heard of Asda, but they'd come from the same place. But while we was at the church, not sure about who it was, it could have been the vicar, I don't know. It could have been just someone that works at the church, but he came over to us and he says, help yourself to as much of this as you want. He told us that there was about 40 crates dropped there outside the church on the morning, and this was a result of the ordering systems in Asda over-ordering because of the panic buying, in the weeks before. So what the system's done is over-ordered, and they know they're not going to sell it, so that they was just distributing it freely to anyone who wanted it. So in certain areas there was these food drops. And I said to my partner, watch what happens. I said, all these people that are buying this food this week, the shops are going to expect it the week after, and they're not going to do it, because we've got a certain amount of money which we can allocate to buying food, and most people will have allocated more than what they would usually weeks before this happened. And as a result, like I was right, the shops had over-ordered, and now they're sitting there with lots of stocks of this food which they're not going to be able to sell, so they've decided to just give it away because it's perishables. So I was right there as well. Seem to be hitting the mark on a lot of things lately, like telling people to buy food well in advance of all what was happening, and obviously I'm right on that as well. So what we're doing here at the Observatory, well, as you guys know, we really did hit the road running this year, and with the help of just a few people, and it really is sad that it's just a few people, we've been able to push it a little bit further, even in these times, what we're all facing right now with the pandemic. I've got to mention his name, Doug. It is solely because of you, Jen, and Bob and Kathy that we have been able to expand our operation here a little bit further, to now incorporate 3D printing. And over the last few days, I've been familiarising myself with CAD programs, computer-aided design, and as a result of that, we're going to accelerate a couple of things. First of all, our muon detectors. Let me just go and grab one, I'll show you. So our muon detectors need housing, and with the printed, the 3D printer, we're going to be able to build a nice housing for these. And obviously there's more of these to be built, so a little bit of time invested in the design on the housing for these will be time well spent. And also we're going to modify our magnetometers that are going out as well. And I just wish that this component was as reliable as this, because we've only had one really that has struggled to deliver. good reliable data. But these, on the other hand, I've still got one running. It's been running now for about 80 hours. It seems to be okay, so I'm confident that if we send that one out, that muon detector, it will go out and record good data for us. But we've got two other things on the back burner which we really need to do a bit more work on. And as I've now got more time, I'm going to be able to do that. So as soon as I've familiarised myself with the CAD programs, we're going to build housings for these. We're going to get those out. We're also going to improve on the colloidal generators, colloidal silver generators. And we're going to build a housing, not on the first ones that are going out. If you've ordered one, I think there's 9 people that have ordered them. I've got all the components I need apart from one item, and I knew that the one item that we were waiting for was coming from China, but I did manage to find someone in the UK with 5 of them. That's the 3-volt pumps that go on the colloidal generators. So as soon as we get those, and it should be Monday or Tuesday, I'll get the 5 out, and they will be dispatched to those people that have ordered them. And then there was obviously the people that ordered the second batch, which will follow in a couple of weeks' time. So, the 3D printer can come in handy for more than one thing, but there is something I promised our patrons, and I haven't forgotten that promise. And, I would just say this, guys. If you've been following me for any length of time, you will know one thing, that, even if it is beyond my capability, I eventually deliver on that. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the cloud generator. So I stripped it all down yesterday. We have reached a point now where I'm satisfied with the Peltier elements dropping the temperatures down enough so that we can get alcohol vaporization in the chamber, and our cloud generator can generate some results for us. That's what we really want. And the reason for that is we want to see cosmic rays coming in, whether they increase over time. It's to give you people out there a visual. Not only do we have these particle detectors that detect muons as a result of interactions in our upper atmosphere with the molecules in our air, with collisions of cosmic rays, but we're also going to eventually have a visual on this as well. We're going to see them in the cloud chamber. And the 3D printer, which we've just invested in, is going to give us the ability to build a housing for all the components. It's got to be done in 4 different sections, the actual housing is, but it's going to be it's going to be a real nice finished product, and not something that has been knocked together with a bit of plywood. So big thank you to you, Doug, because if it weren't for you giving us a bit of support over the last few days, and a week ago, we would not be in a position to do this. But I want to say this, guys, this is supposed to be a crowd-funded observatory, and yet we see it time and time again here that it's just a small number of people. There's 32,000 subscribers to this channel, and what we're doing is a real unique thing here. We are not just talking about it, and you know what, we never talk about these things. We used to, I've got to say, 5 years ago, just talk about it. That's all we could do at that point in time. But now we've got a little bit of support. We've been able to be a bit more proactive in building the equipment, getting it around the world with the help of some real great people, and collect that data, bring it back here to the UK, process it and put it up on the website. We couldn't have done it without the little bit of support we get. But we cannot just leave it down to a few people. It has to be a group support, and the group needs to be a little bit bigger than what it is. We just can't just keep leaving it down to a few people. We can really go a lot further than what we've gone. And I've got to, just before I forget, right, what I promised the patrons was that I would put your message in a digital format and send it out into space by a CO2 powered laser. And that is another thing that the 3D printer is going to be able to produce for us. It's going to be able to build all the little bits and bobs that go along with it and put that message out into space for you. So now we've got the 3D printer. It's just going to happen a little bit more quicker. And that's going to be a real... why? I know what some of you are thinking. Why do you want to send a message out into space? Do you think that there's nobody else out there? If you're one of these people on this planet that believe that you are the only intelligent life form in this universe, then you're crazy. Go straight away into your bathroom and splash some cold water on your face, because we are not alone in this, even in this world. Even though you don't directly have communication with these people from other worlds, we are not alone, and they do visit this world. Trust me on that, right? You just got to trust me on that. All I want to do is demonstrate the ability that we are, at least at this point in time, prepared to communicate with them. And the CO2 laser will do that. You know, I can set up this CO2 laser on a platform which can target any constellation in our galaxy, and maybe out into other galaxies. And with the laser ability, firing photons in a coded format, you know, through digitalisation of your message, which I promise to do, and every one of you, I know there's under 200. Yeah, we've lost a few. I think it's gone down to 160 now, and even crossed the threshold where I said I was going to act if it did. But you know, I will send that message out, whatever you choose, you know, out into our stars. And you don't know where that will end up, but I will just say this: once it's sent out there, within about 3 or 4 weeks, it will bypass Voyager 1, Voyager 2 that the United States sent out in the 80s, and your message will travel out into the universe constantly until it hits something or somebody comes across it. And I believe that the ability for these intelligent races that are out in our universe, I believe that they will have the ability to know where it came from and decipher the message. So your message may be the first message that, you know, gets received by another intelligent race as a result of the laser being transmitted that message. So, you know, that's something we're going to do. I'm going to press to get that finished this year. It's a big project. You know, we've got to take the transformer apart that runs the CO2. We've got to overlay the coil with another coil in order for us to embed the code into the actual transformer that runs the laser. It's going to be a high-powered thing, but we can do it. We've proved the ability to transmit messages via light, and photons. We've done it already. You've seen that if you've followed my videos. So, yeah, guys, you know, we've got the ability to do that. We've got some dark days ahead. But you know what, I have to remain optimistic. I mean, I really hope that we can resolve something with China down the road, but I know there's going to be some problems there further down the road. I mean, we are already, as far as I'm aware, in a situation where we could, right now, have already been prepared for a war, because we're all at home with our loved ones. If it is going to be a serious war, then that is exactly where you'd want the majority of your public. You'd just want your key workers out there in the field, you know, not clogging up the streets. You know, it is a situation, I think, set up for a severe war right now. If it weren't just for the case of we are all doing this for COVID-19 and the pandemic, but, you know, I'm sure you have more things to worry about, guys. But I just wanted to put a few thoughts out there and just tell you where we are right now with the Observatory and what we're doing. And if I can, just encourage a few more of you guys out there to support what we do. You know, we don't know where all I say is, like, you know, the first computer came out of somebody's shed in the back garden. And then, your big companies evolved from that. Microsoft, we could be in 30 years where they are. We could be the new NASA on the block. You just never know. But I've got to say this. I can't emphasise this enough. I know we're in difficult times where money's hard for a lot of people to donate to little observatories like what we've got here. But I think we should just remain on the path regardless, in any case, where we are. I do hope that you appreciate the valuableness of what we do here at the maverickstar Observatory, and that you are probably encouraged today to make a little contribution towards it. It really is frustrating for me when I see what people donate their money to on YouTube. And when you compare it to what we're trying to do, you ask the question, really, where are the mindsets of people today? You've only got to look at the subscribers to gaming channels, and you scratch your head. You think, why? Why is this guy who operates a computer game driving around in a Lamborghini, and has been made very rich as a result of just playing games, where we've got an observatory, that is giving people information, has multiple equipment around the world, and where's the support for us? Where is people's mindsets in this day and age? It's a subject for probably another day. Anyhow, guys, have a great day. I'll put the link down there if you want to support us here at the observatory and what we do. And there's really some great things coming along. And, I'll leave you with that. I'll just say what I usually do, Be safe, look after your loved ones. Don't forget the vulnerable ones that are probably not part of your unit, that live in your street. Keep your eye on them. And, as always, bye for now.